You gotta love Italians. Hi, my name is Rick, and thanks for joining me on this No Perfect Parent podcast, where I just share a few tips that I learned on my parenting journey. You know, as a young minister, I was teaching a class, and as part of an illustration, I said my wife recently asked me if I loved her. At the close of the class, a sweet, older Italian woman came up, put her arm around me, and whispered in my ear, "Sweetie, if she has to ask, you aren't saying it enough." Ouch, that hurt, but it was the good kind of hurt. I needed to hear it, and she was right. From that day on, I decided I was going to regularly tell my wife, and later my kids, that they were loved. I haven't always done it as much as I should, but I've never regretted making the effort. If they have to ask, you aren't saying it enough. You know, I've found there's many excuses we can come up with for not regularly telling our wife and kids how much we love them. But every time I come up with one of these, the Lord confronts me and demolishes those lame excuses I come up with. Here's one of them. Well, when I was growing up, my family just didn't express our feelings. Well, so what? Get over it. You can change and not perpetuate that weakness on another generation. How about this one? Well, I'm just not comfortable saying things like that. You know what? I found out I'm not comfortable doing anything new, but with practice, it gets natural. If something is important to me, I'll practice it again and again until I get good at it. Well, telling my family they are loved is important. In fact, it's a top priority. I need to practice it until I feel comfortable doing it. How about this one? Well, they know I love them. How in the world are they going to know I love them if I don't say it? Most of us deal with so many insecurities and self-doubts that even when someone tells us that we're loved, we don't truly believe it. We kind of wonder about it. We've got to hear it over and over again and see it demonstrated again and again before we even begin to believe it. How about this one? I just forget to say it. I just forget to say it. But you know what I find? I make notes to remind myself of all kinds of other important things to do. I have pop-up reminders on my phone, sticky notes on my mirror and on my computer monitor. You know, I just need to learn to treat this like any other important activity and find ways to regularly remind myself to tell my wife and tell my kids and express my love to them. You know, I may be Swedish, but I dare not be like the story I heard about one old Swede. His wife asked him, "Do you love me?" And he said, 40 years ago when I married you, I told you I loved you. If anything changes, I'll let you know." You see, my wife and my kids need to know they are loved. We all need to be regularly reminded of it because we tend to forget. You know, our love bucket is very leaky and needs to be constantly filled back up. And we need to be told in a language that we understand. If you're not familiar with the concept of love languages, I've included a link below that will help you understand and find out and discover just what your spouse and what your kids' love language is. We need to then learn to speak it fluently and speak it regularly. You know, our love should be so evident in our words and actions that even when we goof up and get angry and respond in unloving ways, as we all sometimes do with our kids and our spouse, that they will still know they are loved unconditionally. Romans 5:8 says, God demonstrated his love for us. He demonstrated his love for us. Well, I hope this podcast has been helpful, and I hope that you'll share it with someone else who would benefit from it. Now, if you'll excuse me for a minute, I need to go tell my wife how much I love her.